Anthony on Monday was said to stands. She said she criticized INEC for not outrightly rejecting the petition seeking her recall, describing the commission's response as an indication of bias. Let me see. I'm trying to get instituting the process of a recall. My guest is Barrister Eugene Ode. He is a legal practitioner and, of course, the perfect man in the perfect position to take us through the steps. Good day, sir. You? Maybe last week.
Someone will soon ask you to do emergency for me.
Okay, that's a good one. But I keep asking this question, right? And even though people are talking about the constitutionality of the action, what if the sole administrator actually restores some order to the executive and legislative arms?
He doesn't have such powers to do that. You cannot use illegality to create legality. The fact that the arm robber...
Right, no harm done to whoever they stole from. They just stole.
There is no time.
So that children will eat and not die.
There is no time you steal, either by force of arms or just by collecting something that belongs to another person without any force of arm, that it doesn't cause harm to somebody.
So the person caught you and say, okay, Organa, food, na hunger, yeah, you can take it, go and feed your children.
No, that's not possible. Under the scenario we are painting today, illegality remains an illegality. There is no legal justification, there is no moral justification to condone illegality. It doesn't matter what the intentions are. It doesn't matter what the intendment of those who are perpetuating illegality.
Okay. The Constitution heavily sponsors his position. But let's go to the legality of the conversation for this hour. What are the legal steps required to recall a senator in Nigeria?
Well, it's very easy. Why I'm saying it's easy is because these steps are provided for already.
Okay.
And other extant laws and the by law. Go to section 69 of the Constitution, we will find therein the step-by-step procedure prescribed by the Constitution as to how to recall members of the legislature, both at the state level and at the federal level. Now, if you go to section 69, it says a member of the to vote in that member's constituency, allegedly and content with the petition approved persons registered to vote in that member's constituency. So the first step is a petition. INEC can request for the requisite documents required. The petition ways you sign that petition, because there are some forms INEC is going to, and as you sign that petition, because there are some forms INEC is going to, and in that form, your name will be clearly stated in that form. Okay? Your address will be clearly stated in that form. Okay? Your address will be clearly stated in that form. And then the most important thing in that form is your VIN number. Verify that you are able to vote and you have your voter's identification number and your PVC. It must be clearly stated in that form, and then your signature, either your signature or your thumbprint. So I'm hearing they are talking about emails and phone numbers.
Yeah.
Those ones are neither here nor there. What is the most important aspect? The most important part of that form is your PVC number, your VIN number. Your VIN number ascertains that you have a PVC and you are an eligible voter, a registered voter at that. So I think that is where INEC is saying that indeed they were able to meet the cutoff, which is more than half.
More than half of 400,000.
Of 400,000. They beat, of course, you know that this is not the first time this is happening in Kogi State. Dino Milaye also suffered the same fit in his time, where there was an attempt to recall him. But what happened in Dino Milaye's time was that they didn't have the required half.
Okay.
In fact, the Constitution did not say half. The Constitution said more than half. If you go further, you see where it defined 50% plus 1. At least 1%.
Like 1%.
That's right, 50% plus 1. For you to, so in Dimilaye's time, get the fee plus 1/10, 50% plus 1, as required by the Constitution. So at that stage, the whole process died at that stage. It didn't go to the verification stage. But in this case now, from the numbers we're hearing, apparently it appears to be more than 50% plus 1.
Way more.
All right. Now, you now move to the next stage to sort those people, to sort them one after the other. Sorting means you have to now look at the form, not just the signatures attached to the petition. You have to look at the forms, if there were any forms obtained for that purpose. If there were no forms obtained for that purpose, and that's very soon. Bring to prescribe the rules. She
voted for this
country.
It's close.
I've not heard of anyone. So they've made it so watertight that it's up to the various polling units.
All
and
right.
Now I'll vote.
Like it still is hard facts. Now, agree that an amendment should be.
It's just that we have people who get those.
Okay.
Medical process don't cross yours and you don't get to do it. The way you have more than half of the people required, but because you didn't sit down to do the proper thing by making sure that those who meet the constitution action at the
best scenario that everything is working up to speed. Let's take best case scenario.
It takes the constitution and you have simple majority voting because it's a yes or no representatives, the speaker or the Senate president, as the case may be, informing them that this seat is. Things are always captured in the INEC budget, so it's ready.
I spoke to an INEC rep about by-elections, and they kept talking about funding. And I asked if this is something that could definitely happen. Lawmakers die, people defect and lose seats. There are lots of reasons why a by-election will be required.
All the funds that are developed that election, they know where to go to. And those funds will be appropriated.
Considering that, I mean, I'm trying to create problems to your solution. Considering that we are always running a deficit with our budget, right? The general big budget. We literally have to borrow almost every time to fund that budget. I don't think any government would be okay with INEC coming in the middle of.
If I'm the head of government, I'll definitely have issues with INEC coming to ask me for money because I believe that those funds. When I heard it, I was like, wow, this is almost like more than what some countries have. INEC budget was more than what some countries have as a national budget. So you can't come and tell me just for one constituency by election, we need to now pass a separate budget for that purpose. I won't listen to you. If I was the head of government.
All right, let's take.
Listen to you. If I was the head of government.
All right, let's take some calls, but very quickly because we don't have. Just be Nigerian.
If you want me to dabble into the issues that led to
yes,
her,
do you think it's political?
Recall, there's no gainsaying that people are fighting her. There's no doubt about that. But then this is also going to test her popularity. 08179230002 08179230003. What do you make of the recall of Senator Natasha? That's currently what's going on, and INEC has faulted the process. And have you ever felt that a rep of yours was no longer effectively serving? And were you looking to recall them? This one says, yes, back in 2019, I wanted the then senator representing me, who is now the SFG, Senator Akume, to be recalled for making derogatory comments about Benue people. But it is what it is. I was alone and the process is too difficult. That section of the Constitution needs to be amended, Dave says. Dave is with me on this. Ogo Justice says, every recall it's achievable. It's the same thing.
To people to be gathered.
It's the same thing. It's basically the same thing.
Okay. Logaman is that one call. Hello, Logaman?
Yeah, some opportunity.
Good evening.
Yes, I agree to this.
Good evening.
From the resident, and let us not been going towards that way to investigate and find excuses. Concerning what your people are passing through, because you presented your people, you are adamant in the house. You don't even relate to your consequence. No. It's what I politically presented. And on the issue of the House of Rep too, my brother, if it is easy, as you are asking your guests there, all those people are supposed to be recalled because they are not what.
There are many other people who would share Lugaman's sentiment about their own reps.
The truth is, that's the problem with democracy. Like I keep saying, that democracy, the basic principle of democracy, it works with numbers. All right, the majority always have their way, while the minority will have their say. Who are idiots forming the majority? If you have idiots, who are idiots forming the majority? If you have idiots forming the majority in that category, of course, the idiots they will be able to bite. So that's one disadvantage and one problem I have with democracy. So
all right,
when you have majority of the people in the wrong side, because they have the number, they will always have their way.
All right, Barsode, thank you very much for making